Please warn advised they're trying to breach.
What's up, everybody? How's your day going? I have a confession to make. I love... Yeah, I just love... And that's coming from a Star Wars guy. So, those 3 years ago, I knew nothing about the world Frank Herbert created. When I found out that Denis Villeneuve is directing a new Dune movie, I did what any reasonable person would do. I took my wife to the cinema under the excuse of being together to watch this movie and defend my beloved Star Wars in the internet. Yeah, but I was in shock after what I saw. So I did another reasonable thing. I drove back home and bought 2 extra tickets. Then the second part came out, and it blew my expectations even more. It is truly a cinematic masterpiece. Really, if you haven't watched it, you should definitely check it out. So, after watching Dune Part 2, I felt something I haven't felt in a long time. A sense of dread. As I started to explore that feeling, a chill ran down my spine, as I found fear.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
You see, I'm a sociologist. Human psychology, how we function as a society, what our fears are, what we dream of, what our ambitions are, what motivates us and what drives us have always intrigued me. We live in a dangerous world full of contradictions, constantly challenging long-accepted rules, traditions, behaviors, and the status quo. Social confusion, questioning one's values, one's health, feeling of alienation and exclusion, economic and humanitarian crises, wars, searching for one's place in the world, searching for a savior who will save us from our problems, from our dread, who will show us and lead us to a better tomorrow. A Messiah.
I wrote the Dune series because I had this idea that charismatic leaders ought to come with a warning label on the forehead, may be dangerous to your health.
First, we need to understand what a messianic figure means and what are his characteristics. Messiah, from Hebrew, Mashiach, means the anointed, the savior and liberator in Abrahamic religions. We often look to the skies when there is a sense of being hopeless, in search of divine power that could save us from oppression and our troubles. We envision such character, such power, in various ways, and we create an imaginary picture of such character. Of course, in literature and movies, we have various messianic tropes and characteristics a certain character has, so that we could perceive him as an ultimate hero. The first thing that comes to my mind is the unusual birth or creation of such character. For example, from my beloved Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker was born by his mother but without the father. The Force created him. In creating the origin of Anakin Skywalker, George Lucas took inspirations from the life of Jesus Christ, vaguely but nonetheless. Like Jesus, Anakin was born by divine power. Like Jesus, Anakin was born with a purpose, to restore balance and good to the world. He didn't want it but was created to do it. His destiny was to bring peace and balance in the Force by destroying evil once and for all. Then we have Superman, who's the sole survivor of his planet, sent to Earth to protect it and save its people. Superman and Anakin both had amazing gifts. Anakin could use the Force, Superman had superpowers. Both had dual identities, one normal, other as a hero. So we have unusual birth, extraordinary upbringing either by circumstances, in case of Anakin, or by developing abilities in case of Superman, and the need or destiny to do good. But what would happen if we took those ideals, those characteristics of a messianic figure, and turned them on their heads, turned them upside down? Well, then we would have Paul Atreides.
I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis! Erudit Dina Heshidani, Nelisan Al-Gai, Ruin Dimenaruk, Ashidi! Nelisan Al-Gai!
Paul Atreides, son of Duke Atreides, in his siege known as Usul, to others as Muad'Dib, Bene Gesserit's Kvidat Haderach, Mahdi, Lisan al-Gaib, Duke of Arrakis, and finally Padishah Emperor. Frank Herbert, in his book And Danny's Villain and Its Adaptation, tried to raise the issue of the cult of personality and blindly following idols by introducing us to the character of Paul Atreides. At first glance, Dune is a simple story of revenge, of injustice, defeating evil and helping others. We emphasize our protagonist, Paul, whose father and friends were brutally killed in a political assault made by the Harkonnen house with one simple goal: removing House Atreides from the power equation. The story is as simple as others. We can even see a little bit of Hamlet in it. What's special about it are the philosophical themes and warnings we're confronted with. You see, Dune is more than a revenge story. It's more than a story about injustice. It's more than a story about oppression and social inequality. It's a warning that's so important in today's times. Paul's birth was unusual in terms of his gender. His mother was a Bene Gesserit member, a powerful sisterhood whose goal was to create Kvidat Haderach. Kvidat Haderach was supposed to be a powerful male who was able to see into the future. The creation of Kvidat Haderach was based upon a complicated eugenics plan involving crossbreeding the descendants of various significant families. His mother, Lady Jessica, was thought to birth a female, so that she could be crossbred with another male from a different family, which would result in the birth of Kvidat Haderach. As I mentioned, complicated. But what Lady Jessica did is she chose to give birth to a male, opposing the Bene Gesserit's order, which resulted in the creation of Kvidat Haderach in case of Paul. So Paul is an anti-hero in his own story. At first, we cheer for Paul because he was wronged by the Harkonnen house, which killed his father and his friends, and took over the planet as it was lawfully passed to Atreides' house. He miraculously escaped the slaughter with his mother and was saved by the Fremen people. As the story progressed, we see a change in his character. From a good and kind person, he became distant and ruthless to his enemies, being known by the name of Muad'Dib. He and his death squadron reigned terror in the desert, slaughtering Harkonnen troops, smugglers and spice miners. Constantly being torn by the visions of an unavoidable war in his name, he tries to change the future, but in the end, seeing the potential of the Fremen, their strength, and strong belief in him, he chooses to use them to enact revenge on the House Harkonnen and take over the throne. But Paul, from the Fremen's perspective, is the Messiah. He is the savior, and he is the liberator. Fremen, who had been oppressed for years, saw him as the one who would free them from their misery, the Lisan al-Gaib. What the Fremen didn't know was that their religion, their prophecy of a messianic figure, was all but a lie created by members of Bene Gesserit Missionaria Protectiva. So, a sisterhood's division whose sole purpose was to spread myths, create legends and religions on primitive worlds so that when the sisterhood needed, they could be controlled and used for the gain. Paul in reality wasn't a messiah sent on Arrakis by higher power to free the Fremen from oppression. He was a charismatic, trustworthy and loyal person to his people, but he also saw the potential of Fremen, their military power, undying loyalty, unreflective and slavish devotion to him. All of those things Paul used to persuade them that he was their messiah so that they would follow him. Their devotion to him has led to a 12-year holy war that resulted in 61 billion people killed. At one point, Paul even started to compare himself to another real world leaders, such as Genghis Khan and a certain watercolorist with a funny mustache. For a moment, let's take a step back and look at our world. Is the idea of false messiah, fake prophet, an untrustworthy leader really that impossible? Yeah, you're right, it's not. Throughout history, we have seen what leaders can do, what they promise, and how they decide what is wrong and right, how they tell us what we can think and how we can act. It's the government that creates laws and starts world conflicts, offering help only when it's profitable for them, whether it's to gain the support of public opinion or to pressure the political ties of various nations and countries. Take a look at your country and your government. Have you ever helped you without wanting anything in exchange?
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
But the danger doesn't stop there. Look at what's happening on the internet, a tool that almost 5.4 billion people have access to. The rise and fall of fake gurus, where one is exposed, 3 others take its place. Algorithms learn our habits and what we like and dislike, creating a personalized feed. Today's leaders have the power to communicate, to influence like never before. Fake gurus pour their lies and venom into our minds without any consequences. They destroy our concept of the world and distort our consciousness, creating an idyllic land of happiness to which you will only have access through them. They will lead you, they will shape you as they wish, and they will tell you all you wish to hear, and then they will use you. They will use you to promote their product, their course, their mentorship program, their beliefs. They may even encourage you to engage in illegal activities, as it was with Isabel De Luca, a conservative influencer with over 340,000 followers on X. During the January 6th storm on the Capitol, De Luca wrote,
"Fight back or let politicians steal an election? Fight back."
I'm not here to say if the protests of the American people was good or bad. I just want to draw attention to the fact that influencers, in whatever form and in whatever industry they are, can always influence their audience to a greater or lesser extent. Take a look at Andrew Tate and what was happening on the internet once his persona went viral. Millions of TikTok reels and links to join his program. Millions made on men who thought that he was the answer to all their problems. Millions made on a belief that if you joined his school, his program, his university, you would escape the matrix, you would make money and became the person you've always wanted to be. And people joined. They started to act like Andrew. They started to listen to every word he said as if it was a holy word, and they started to mimic him. Just imagine what could happen if an influencer, let's call him X, over an extended time, brainwashed its followers into limitless submission. He could cause a riot, topple institutions, wreak havoc, and bring death. No, it's not over-exaggeration, it's already happening. And it's already happened in the past with charismatic leaders who would lead their country to heinous acts. It's nothing unusual. So, how could you protect yourself from all that is happening? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's being mindful. Being mindful is the most important thing in human existence. Be mindful of your actions, your surroundings, your thoughts, and what you say. By being present and questioning the actions of charismatic leaders, their decisions, or what they are saying, we're protecting ourselves from being manipulated into believing false ideas, or ideas carefully tailored to appeal to the masses. We are protecting ourselves, our families, our children, from their beliefs, their ideas. Be watchful, ask questions, and trust your mind. Be mindful that only then you won't be deceived by fake prophets and charismatic leaders. Beware of your idols.